ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We have been seeing the topic of Dhyanam so far in the 6th chapter, and again Dhyanam means two things here. It can mean Saguna Brahma Vishaye Manasa Vyaparaha, mental activity whose subject matter for which is Ishwara. And this is the kind of dhyanam that is recommended while pursuing the knowledge in order to prepare the mind for gaining and for assimilating the knowledge. The second meaning of the word dhyanam also we have seen, and what is that? That is nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is not neither of these, neither dhyanam nor nididhyasanam. They do not produce the knowledge. What do? They remove what are called the habitual orientations. That is nididhyasanam. And dhyanam per se prepares the mind for receiving the knowledge. So we have been looking at the dhyana phala. What happens when nididhyasanam is done, and how does one own up the knowledge as a consequence of nididhyasanam? We have been seeing. In the last one we saw atyantam sukham ashnute, and I had left this with the question: atyantam sukham is Brahmananda, and if Brahmananda is mentioned separately, then what is this Brahmananda? How is it different from everyday Ananda? In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, so we'll start off from there. So in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we have a section which between, I think it's a dialogue between sage Yagyavalkya and King Janaka, where sage Yagyavalkya is teaching King Janaka, saying that this is the Ananda, Brahmananda, which is the source of all Ananda. And this same Ananda, Sarvani Bhutani, all the beings, Matram Eva Upajivanti. All the beings, meaning the beings who do not know Vedanta, not the beings who know Vedanta, but the beings who do not know Vedanta, Matram eva upajivanti. Matram upajivanti means they experience this Brahmananda in little bits and pieces. And go back to the example that I always give. What is that example? The example is that of the dog, the puppy dog, sitting at the table and begging for scraps. This is what is called Vishayananda. So the Ananda centered on objects, Vishayananda. And when the Ananda is discovered as centered on oneself alone, then what happens? Then there is a higher plane. There is a different thing that is operating. Why? Because I am that source of the Ananda. If you don't know, then one will be like the puppy dog sitting and begging for the Ananda, and that Ananda is inhibited. So the everyday Ananda, even though it's not separate from Brahmananda, is definitely inhibited. How is it inhibited? It is inhibited in a few ways. It is inhibited by the following. It is inhibited by the following in the following ways. First is, if I am the subject enjoying the object, whatever the object is, anything we can say, a movie or a book or some show, drama, then I am not the drama. Okay, I'm separate from that which I enjoy. That is the first inhibition, for the first limitation. Then the object which is there, which I am enjoying is finite. Finite means deshatah, kalatah, vastutah. It is finite space wise, it is finite time wise, it is finite being one object and not another object, because if I am enjoying one object, then I cannot at the same time be enjoying another object. So that's the second limitation. And the third limitation is this karana, the upakaranas, the eyes, ears, etc., the modes of enjoyment are also finite. That's why if I keep, even though I love roses, let us say I'm very fond of roses, so I keep smelling the rose all the time. Not once in a while in a fragrance or perfume or just keeping the flower to the nose. No, I'm always constantly smelling the rose. What will happen? I will stop enjoying it. In fact, I will lose that sense of smell connected to the rose because there is a surfeit. Same thing happens to the tongue, same thing happens to the eyes. Even though the eyes are open, you are in the mode of unseeing, not seeing, because there is a surfeit. That is one more limitation. And then the sense organs get tired, and there is a sense of overkill, too much, can't handle it. So everything is enjoyed in little bits and pieces, and because it is too much. So the upadhitaha, there are limitations on part of the enjoyer, and on part of that which is enjoyed, there is deshatah, kalatah, vastutah limitations for that upadhi which is the object of enjoyment. So that's why every being, Yajnavalkya says in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, partakes of this Brahmananda in bits and pieces, fits and starts. Bits and pieces, fits and starts. Why? It's almost too much. Because the kind of enjoyment that I am used to is through the mind and the sense organs, and the connecting to the object via the mind and the sense organs, merging with the object of love via the mind and the sense organs, and that will only yield scraps of bread at the table. that will not give the whole meal, because everything is finite. The finite subject in the form of the upadhi is enjoying various discrete finite objects. And so how can it be different? And the mode of enjoyment is also through finitude, finite eyes, finite sense of ears, finite sense organs, finite mind. So therefore, there will always be a sense of discontent and dissatisfaction, because the heart is hardwired for moksha. What is moksha? Infinite Ananda is moksha. So then this seems to be a setup. The body-mind sense complex, the entire upadhi is set up for finitude and finite enjoyment. Yet what does the heart want? The heart wants to enjoy the infinite. If the infinite were an object, then perhaps we could be having this discussion. But the very discussion is strange, because the infinite is nothing but an object. It's not an object at all. It is you. It is the subject. And so if it is you, that means what? You are enjoying yourself. And so this leads us to question this further. And to analyze this a little further, and when we do a little more analysis, we find that searching for objects of enjoyment and trying to enjoy the objects with the help of sensory and other perceptions, mind, etc., that itself leads to what is called Ananda Taratamya. Ananda Taratamya means there is a different degrees of Ananda. So that leads to different degrees of Ananda, a subject matter that is very well analyzed in the second Valli chapter of the Taittiriya Upanishad. So the Ananda that one human being enjoys, one unit of human Ananda, which is like inconceivable actually, it's an ideal type unit the Upanishad first comes up with. So one unit of human Ananda is nothing. So it's you think it's out of my scope because this person is described as strong, well educated, good looking, and young, and owns the entire universe, owns the entire earth. All the resources of the earth belong to this person. This is inconceivable Ananda for the one sitting here in Bhuloka, on the earthly plane. But then, if you look at the entire universe, this Ananda is nothing. You multiply this Ananda by 100 units of this Ananda is equal to 1 unit of the lower rung celestial Ananda that they enjoy. Then you take that 1 unit of the celestial Ananda, lower rung, and multiply that by 100, and then you get some slightly higher celestial Devatas Ananda, 1 unit of that. Then you multiply that by 100, and then you get Karma Devatas Ananda, 1 unit. Who are Karma Devatas? They bring chai to the other Devatas. So they please the other, they serve the other devatas. So even a chai wala in heaven is enjoying infinitely more Ananda than you on earth. Think about it. So like this it goes on. Indrasyananda, Saya eko Indrasyananda, te ye shatam Indrasyananda, Saya eka Brihaspaterananda, and then te ye shatam Brihaspaterananda, Saya ekah Prajapaterananda. So like this it keeps on going. You multiply that by 100 and then you get 1 unit of somebody else's happiness, and then you multiply that by 100 and then you get one more person's happiness. Like this it keeps on going. Never ending. But then there is one person sitting under a tree, quiet, unsung, unknown even. Nobody even knows. And this person is quietly enjoying all those levels of Ananda of the Yakshas, Gandharvas. These are all names of musically inclined celestials. Yeah, so this person sitting under a tree wearing a loin cloth or just minimalist, the person who is a minimalist is sitting under a tree and enjoying all these levels of Ananda, every single thing. And without going to heaven, the person is enjoying Gandharvananda and Yakshananda, Kindarananda, Pitrulokananda, and then Ajanajan Lokananda, Karmadevananda, Indrasyananda, Indrananda, Brihaspaterananda, all the levels of Ananda to the power, which is never ending, these degrees and gradations. This person sitting quietly is enjoying without any problem at all. How? Because the person is two things, Shrotriya and Akamahataha. Akamahataha. not hijacked. Akamahata means not hijacked by desire, not hijacked by settling for this small, finite Ananda, and letting go of the scraps in order to have a seat at the table. That's what it is. Because if we keep begging for scraps, then everybody will think, okay, this is a doggy, that's where it belongs. And so if you say, no, I don't eat those scraps, I don't eat that. Oh, would you like to sit at the table? Yes, thank you. This is exactly how it is. This is exactly how it is. And so here the person refuses these small, compact anandas that are upadhi specific anandas. Only if you're a Gandharva you can enjoy this particular ananda. Well, I don't want that ananda. And I don't have the desire to be a Gandharva. Oh, okay, but then there is another Karma Devanam Ananda. I don't want Karma Devananda. What do you think I am? Why should I spend my time bringing chai to other devatas? I am not interested. I pass. I'm not interested, not interested, not interested. And it's not just faking it, genuinely not interested. Why? Because I am not interested in scraps and pieces. I want the whole. My desire is not for becoming Indra. My desire is not for enjoying what Indra enjoys. That's a headache. To become Indra, I have to do 100 Ashwamedha yagas, yajnas. Even one I don't know how to do. How will I do 100? And what a waste of time. While I'm always focusing on heaven, I don't even enjoy what is here on earth. I don't enjoy myself. I don't enjoy anything. And so therefore, I reject these graded anandas. The person sitting under the tree says, I don't want that. Because why? Even because the person has done pariksha lokan karmachitan. And so therefore, the object of love is really the self. Acharya Swamiji also has emphasized that a few days ago in the Mundaka, in the Mundaka talk. The object of love is the subject itself. And how is this conclusion arrived at? After pariksha, after an extensive analysis that Indra also gets a headache. Indra has problems because nobody in heaven behaves and they are all fighting for a better bungalow, for a better garden, and he has to adjudicate and mediate between all of them. That's his job. Who wants that job? And even more of a headache is Lord Yama's job. He is in the assembly line of putting all the jivas to the different belts are there, just like in a factory. The belt keeps going, and then one goes to the manufacturing area, and another one goes to the rejection pile, because this cannot go out to the market, quality control, and the third one is packed and shipped off to the retail for retail sales. So like this, all the jivas are put in various categories. Pashu, next time, why? Behaved territorially like a dog this time. Go. And then the other one, designed for human rebirth. Okay, that's on another belt. Put the jiva there. And then the third one, what? The third one has some kind of defects, and that needs to go somewhere and then be repaired. The fourth one is going to Swarga for a short time, of course, and the fifth one is going to the place where it doesn't come back. This is a saint who has moksha, videha mukti. And so like this, this is what Lord Yama does all the time. And when he is not busy in the jiva factory, he has lot of out of station duties. He has to go to various lokas and bring those people bring those jivas to put in all these assembly line belts. What a job. Who wants that? No one. And so therefore, the person who is akamahataha, who does not settle for this upadhitaha, the centered on the upadhi. Centered on the upadhi, the person is not settling for the joys confined to the upadhi, and therefore you just keep shunning, you just keep what is that called? You just keep refusing, a consistent refusal to settle. And for that, a lot of mental strength is needed, which the dhyanam is giving, which the dhyanam has given. And if it is nididhyasanam, then that also there is a little bit of a gap between assimilation of the knowledge and the knowing, and that gap is in the form of accepting that I'm already there, and that gap is also first diminished and then eliminated through nididhyasana. So this is jnana phalam, and it is dhyana phalam also. The owning up of myself is dhyana phalam and jnana phalam, and jnana phalam is already gained by the study of the scriptures through shravana. Jnanam in meditation, neither nididhyasanam nor meditation produces Atma jnanam. It can either remove the pratibandhas, obstacles for Atma jnanam, or what can it do? It can prepare the mind by removing mental and emotional obstacles for receiving Atma Jnana. Atma Jnanam alone can show me what is it that I have missed. I have missed understanding. I have missed understanding the truth of myself as not confined to the upadhi. Three things I have missed. One is the Atma is separate from the body. Separate from the body. Atma dehat vilakshanaha. This is the first thing we have to understand. And through the study of the Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, etc., Brahma Sutra. Atma is different from the body. First thing, basic Vedanta teaching. Then the second thing is that Atma is antaryami, antastishtan yamayati. So this Atma is separate from the body. I am not this body, I am this Atma. So then where is this Atma? It must be hanging out somewhere. I have to go and pluck it like a star from the sky? No. Like a fruit from the tree? No. Why? Because it is antaryami, antastishtan. It is within, so to speak, it is within from the standpoint of this body, mind, sense complex. It is within this body, so to speak, and then sitting within the body, yamayati, it rules. Because of its presence, the body becomes animated, alive enough to do all the things that it should be doing, to be able to walk, talk, think, breathe, sleep, eat, see, hear. All these functions, it manages from, so to speak, within. This is the second level of understanding as one progresses in Vedanta study. Then finally what? This Atma, which is separate from the body, mind, sense complex, which in fact is the indweller of the body, mind, sense complex. Number two, it is the indweller of the body, mind, sense complex. Indwelling this upadhi called the body, mind, sense complex, it animates it and makes it capable of life, makes it capable of movement. It, because of its presence, the body becomes active, the body can do things, the mind can think, and the senses can interact with the sense objects. This is the second thing to understand in the Vedanta teaching. Now, the final thing is that this Atma, which is separate from the body, which is indwelling this body and managing everything with regard to this particular body, mind, sense complex, is Sarvadhara. Sarvadhara means it is not just Antaryami, it is it is the yami, it is the one that runs the whole universe. Sarvadhara, sarvasya adhara. It is that which upkeeps everything. Just like it upkeeps this body mind sense complex, and just like it is here, it upkeeps the whole universe. Because of its presence, the planets behave and stay in their orbits. Because of its presence, the sun shines. Because of its presence, we can enjoy the cool light of the moon. Because of its presence, the wind blows. Because of its presence, everything goes as planned. Without it doing anything. This is the Atma from the standpoint of the universe, which is Sarvadhara. Sarvasya adhara means the support of everything, without being an act, without doing anything. A support just by its presence. It lends its presence and it lends its sentience. So the teaching of Vedanta can be broken into these three stages of understanding. First thing is, I am separate from the body. This is what is mastered through dhyana. Dhyana yoga we saw is that. And second is to understand, okay, the senses function, the organs function. Why? Not because of I, but because of Atma. This Atma is there. And then that is also easy to see with this dhyana. And then with the help of the Shastra, with the help of the Shastra, I see these two things, and in Dhyanam, I understand this a little further. That's what it is. That I am separate from the body is what is talked about in the Shastra, and in Dhyanam, I can actually understand that how through the process of cognitively eliminating that which is not I. Why? Whatever I can observe is not I. So I practice this observation, and I practice this observation, and it is not that the practice is necessary. The practice of dhyanam is necessary only when there are obstacles to understand. There could be, and there are, in the stories of various saints and sages who do not need this meditation, who can skip over the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita in its entirety. And we do not belong to this category, okay? We can't go from chapter 5 to chapter 7. We cannot do that. And in fact, the reason, in fact, if you can skip chapter 6, you can skip the entire Bhagavad Gita, really. So we are not in a position to do that. Why? Because the knowledge is peppered with, seasoned with the garam masala of obstacles. Yeah. So just like, when you go have chaat, they put chaat masala, some kind of a thing to pep up the dish. And so here there is the chaat masala in the form of obstacles to this understanding. Even to this basic understanding that I am separate from the body, there are obstacles. Because in the classroom I understand, then after the classroom I just behave as though I am the body. There is a viparita bhavana, there is pratibandha to understanding even the second thing, that the Atma is powering everything within the body, mind, sense complex. Therefore, I am not the doer. That's a very big jump. That also I cannot understand. And then what to talk of? The Atma is the Adhara of the entire universe. That is a very far-fetched understanding. And so therefore, this dhyana is described when there are pratibandhas to understanding, either because the mind is not yet prepared and adhikaritvam needs to be gained, and the dhyana is very good. Meditation is very good for gaining adhikaritvam in terms of shama, etc. Shama, Bhakti, Shraddha, all this helps. Uparati, Titiksha, meditation can help to increase all that. Or let us say I have the knowledge, but then it is I am not able to command the knowledge to come to my aid whenever I want. Then also I need what is called a form of dhyanam called nididhyasanam, chewing the cud of the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. Ruminating over the Upanishads, that is what is Atma, that is what is the owning up of the Atma Jnana. So this is exactly how we should understand dhyana and the purpose of dhyana. So far we have seen in this chapter the body is vilakshana from the Atma, that was told right in the beginning. The body is separate from the Atma. That's why there was the Sharira Vikshanam, Prana Vikshanam, observing the body, observing the mind, all this. That is to reiterate the teaching that the body, the Atma is separate from the body-mind complex. That was established earlier in this chapter. And then what else is the second thing that was established in this chapter is the fact that there is an indweller. This indweller, Dehi is there, and that Dehi is myself, and that Dehi is Atma. That was also discussed. Now, talking about the dhyana phalam, what happens when I am a adept meditator? The third point is going to be discussed in the upcoming verses, verses 29 to 31. Discuss the dhyana phalas. Dhyana phalas. What happens? And that is nothing but the third thing that we have been talking about, point number 3, which is what? Atma is sarvadhara. It is not just my body's adhara, my mind's adhara. Adhara means support. It is the adhara of the entire universe. In fact, that same Atma is the antaryami of all bodies, is the antaryami of the whole universe. When I understand this and I am able to own up this knowledge, then I become what? Then I have what is called Sarvatma Bhava. I am in that reality, which is what? Where I understand this is the Paramarthika reality. I have finally identified with Paramatma. And that is Paramarthika reality. I have understood Ishwara as the truth of myself. And then what? I eat through 8 billion mouths. This is just talking of human beings. And then I eat through countless mouths. When I talk of all the jantus, all the creatures, then if I am dancing with the help of 8 billion legs. And if I am sleeping, I am sleeping, everyone who is sleeping is not separate from me. This is how it is. This is what Sarvatma Bhava is, that I see everything as an extension of myself. This is even going beyond this Ishwara, so to speak, although there is nothing even that's funny to say. There is nothing beyond Ishwara, but when I identify with Ishvara, and I understand what? That there is nothing separate from me. So it's not really going beyond Ishvara, it is seeing the universe from the standpoint of Ishvara. If Ishvara were to be looking at the universe, Ishvara would not see anything other than herself. That's what it is, himself. So that is how it is, and that is exactly the place where I need to go. And here the person whose knowledge is firmed up with the help of Nididhyasanam is being described as the yogi, the adept one, as a result of Nididhyasanam has become Sarvatma. Let us look at these verses in detail. सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानम् सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानम् सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः सर्वत्र समदर्शनः. Beautiful verse. Next one also we'll chant. यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति सर्वं च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति स च मे न प्रणश्यति. Further, सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां भजत्येकत्वमास्थितः भजत्येकत्वमास्थितः सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते स योगी मयि वर्तते. Before we look at these three verses and the translation, a way to assimilate what is being talked about as Sarvatma is to go back to our example of space. That will help us understand this really easy. So first is, there is, let us say, a pot, okay, and that pot has what? Pot space. What is there in the pot? You can't say nothing, because what is there is space. So pot space is there, let us say. So first level of understanding that the space and the pot are different entities. Space is not part of the pot. Space is separate from the pot. Likewise, Atma is separate from the Karya Karana Sanghata. What is Karya Karana Sanghata? Karya Karana Sanghata means body, mind, sense complex in Sanskrit. Okay. So the Deha is, the Atma is Vilakshana, separate. How? Let us assimilate it through our trusty example. And what is the trusty example? That the space is separate from the pot, even though it is quote unquote in the pot. This is the first level of understanding. And then what? Then we understand that this is this space is this space. The second level is to understand this space as not only benefiting or not only in one pot, but then it is in all pots. It is in all pots. Not just in one pot, space is there in all the pots. Similarly, this Atma, which is I, not only pervades this particular upadhi called this body, then what? It pervades all the bodies. This is this is second level of understanding. Then the third level is to understand that this Atma, which is I, is in every body. This Atma is in everybody, and sorry, that's the second thing. This Atma is not just in this body, but everybody. But then the final is that this Atma is not in everybody. Everybody is, quote unquote, included in this I. That's the final level. Okay. And so to take this analogy of space, first I say the space is in this pot, space is in all pots, space is in the room, space is in all room. And then, so when you say space is in the pot, then it is antaryami, antaryamitvam. And then you say, no, space is not in the pot. Space is not in all pots. Pot is in space. You see the whole flipping? This is the beauty of Vedanta. Pot is in space. Space is not in pot. Pot is in space. That is the final understanding. So don't go away thinking pot is in space. We have to look at the Darshtanga. I am in everything and everybody. First, I am separate from this body, and I am in all bodies, second. And third thing, I am not in all bodies. Everybody is non-separate from me. Everybody is me alone. And the yogi here in these 3 verses has understood that without a shadow of doubt, without a shadow of error, without a shadow of vagueness. And the same thing is reiterated in these 3 verses. Let us look. Sarva bhutastham atmanam. Atmanam, oneself. So let us look at the verb first. Ikshate, sees. Sees means knows. Okay, ikshate. Whenever you see the word sees comes, you have to say janati. Knows. Does not see, but knows. What does the person know? Who is the person who knows? First, let's say, what is the object of this knowledge? Sarva bhutastham atmanam sarva bhutani cha atmani. So, ikshate. Ikshate sees. Sees what? Sees whatever is the object of whatever is the meaning of these first 2 lines. Please look at that. Who sees? Yoga yuktatma ikshate. The one that is endowed with this knowledge. Yoga here is Atma Jnanam, okay? As I told you, the word yoga means many things. We have to be careful how we translate. And thank God we have Adi Shankara Bhashya, which tells us what to think and how to translate in each occurrence of the word yoga. Here, Yoga Yuktatma means the one who is endowed with this knowledge. With this knowledge of Atma Jnanam, that one. That one sees, and that one, who is this one? Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. The one who has the sameness of vision. The one who has sameness of vision sees, and endowed with this knowledge. So this knowledge is the Yoga Yuktatma, the Yoga Yukti, the knowledge of the self is the precursor for Sarvatra Samadarshanam, to be able to see that oneness in everything. And that oneness in everything, which the yogi endowed with this Atma Jnanam sees, is talked about in 2 ways. Sarva bhutastham. Sarva bhutastham means that which is there in all beings. Sarva bhutastham atmanam. So the I is seen as that which inhabits all beings. We already saw that. And then, so this is what is that? The space is not just in one pot, but it is in all pots. This, the second level of understanding the person has. Sarva bhutani cha atmani. No. What do you mean space is in pot? Pot is in space. The space is not in pot. Pot is what is in space. Space being in pot is simple mithya. Pot is what is in space. Who said space is in pot? And So this way, the person is the person is very very what is that? The person is very very sure that I am not, the Atma is not in me, and all beings are not in me, and then I am in the, all beings are in fact in me. I am not in all the beings, like this. And that, is a little more confusing. But we have to make peace with it right now and understand as much as possible using the example of what? Space. Using the example of space, we have to make the best of it. We have to just make the best of it, because what will happen otherwise? Confusion will abound. So when I understand it through the example of space, it becomes clear, and it will, the darshtanta, that which is exemplified, will also become clear. So sarva bhutastham atmanam, everything is in me alone, for the second level of understanding. What was the first level? I am separate from the body. So everything is in me. And then, sarva bhutastham atmanam, this I is in everything. And then finally, everything is in me. That is the idea. And then there is another vantage point, which we are not going to go there. Nothing is in me, I am not in anything. There is no universe. The universe, you take a hanky and then you bid goodbye to the universe. That we are not going to go there, because it will be very confusing, and we'll let Lord Krishna take us there when the time, the muhurta for studying the 9th chapter comes. Okay? And so, ikshate yoga yuktatma, this person sees. Who is this? Sarvatra, everywhere. Who is samadarshanaha, the one who is always seeing the sameness in everything. Then the next one, Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati, same thing. So, yaha, and so here the Atma is converted to I. Who is this I? Ishwara. So the Atma is converted to first person, Ishwara talking in the form of Lord Krishna. So the Atma is converted into Lord Krishna here. So first is the one who sees Atma in everything, and the one who understands that everything is situated, so to speak, again as though situated in the Atma alone. Then the same thing is converted into Bhagava. What is this Atma? Because if you keep saying Atma, Atma, what is this Atma? Knowing this Atma, what am I going to get? Big deal. And so I am in everything. Oh, so that means what? Everything is in me. So if somebody is having a headache, I will have a royal sized headache. If 8 billion people are having a headache, then if everybody is in me, I will have the world's worst headache. So one can go away thinking like that. So what is this I has to be specified properly. And until this I is specified, one will miss out, one will not understand what this is. So the 30th verse defines the I as Ishwara. So wherever this Mam and all is there, wherever we encounter the word Aham and Me and Mam, all these first person pronouns, we have to supply the word Ishwara. Yaha Mam pashyati sarvatra, the one who sees me everywhere, the one who sees Bhagavan everywhere, Ishwara everywhere. Sarvam cha mai pashyati, and sees everything as so to speak, as though located in me, as though non-separate from me. Then tasya aham, for such a person, I am never lost. I'm never lost for that such a person. Usually what happens? Think about all the gopikas, they were missing Krishna all the time because they thought Krishna is a human being. And then Lord Krishna is going to lament that a little later. Param bhavam ajanantah mama bhutam maheshwaram. So without knowing me as Ishwara, Maheshwara, people think that avajananti mam mudhaha manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajanantah. So these mudhaha, the deluded people, oh Arjuna, think of me as a human being. Manushim tanum ashritah, occupying a human body, a human upadhi. Param bhavam, my true nature, nobody knows. Very few people know. Ajanantah, what is my true nature? Maheshwara, I am Ishwara, which is the truth of everything. That that they have not understood. So therefore, what does the puja, in the puja, what you say, puja means I have to go to this place and do it. Puja is located in the temple, and so I have to go to the temple and I have to sit there and I have to do this. So the forms are there. The forms are there to fix the mind. And Lord means some people will fight with others. No, it should look like Vishnu. It should walk like Vishnu. It should talk like Vishnu. And the other person says, no, if I see anything other than the Shivalinga, it is not the Lord. And then the Shakta worshippers will say, Lord is she. It is not he. This is all just madness. Okay? Yeah. That which we call the Lord is neither he nor she. In fact, it is me. That is what is being talked about here. It is not he, it is not she, it is in fact nothing other than me. So, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, the one who sees Ishvara everywhere, not in a particular temple, not in a particular pilgrimage spot, not in a particular avatara, not in a particular form, but in every form. Every form is non-separate from the Lord, the one who has this understanding, the final level of understanding, and sees everything as the source of everything, as this Lord alone. For such a person, the Lord is never lost. Whereas the one who wants to interact with the Lord through a particular upadhi is always left longing, crying, just like the Gopikas cried in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Only difference is, since they were exalted beings, they cried in verse, they cried in Shruti, that's all. But still they cried. If you cry, and the cry is set to a particular raga, that is also crying. if you cry without raga, that is without a melody, that is also crying. No difference. So that missing of Ishvara, that feeling that I am separate and I have just lost Ishvara. Oh my God, where is this Ishvara? This Ishvara has gone away from me. This feeling comes from what? This feeling comes from not understanding Bhagavan. Not understanding Bhagavan. This is the idea. Not understanding Bhagavan, the one who says Bhagavan occupies a particular place and comes at a particular time. So if you have a puja in your house, you say this. You actually say, please come have this asanam, and please come, let me give you this water, please come, let me, do this, sit here, and then please partake of this worship, please take this naivedya, om pranaya swaha, apanaya swaha, vyanaya swaha, udanaya swaha, samanaya swaha, brahmane swaha. I'm offering naivedya, I'm offering clothes, I'm offering a seat. To who? To whom are you offering the seat? You are offering the seat to the Sarvadhara of the universe. You are offering the seat to the one who has offered the seat to you. Not just to you, your body, your mind, your senses, but to who is the seat, the adhisthana of the entire universe. You are daring to offer the seat. Oh, see, this is what I knew all along. That is why I came to this 6-month course, because I want this. I want Nirgun. I don't want Sagun. Nirgun means formless. Nirguna. This is what I want. I knew this in my heart. Then what? Why are you making me worship? Why are you forcing me to go to temple? That's why I don't go to temple. Why are you forcing me to worship? Why should I go to temple when the Lord is everywhere? When the Lord is everything, when the Lord is in me, and when the Lord is in you, and when the Lord is in everybody, why are you forcing me to go to temple and attend this program, that program, all religious programs? I came here for pure Chaitanyam, pure Vedanta without forms. Why are you making me do this? I will just ask a simple question. Do you know this? And you have to be honest. Do you know this sleeping, waking, dreaming in all three states of avasthas, in all three states of experience? Do you know that you are non-separate from Ishwara? Do you know that everything is Ishwara? Do you know this Ishwara at all? Then what will you say? No, not yet, somewhat. Okay. That is why there are forms. Because through the forms you appreciate Ishvara and then you understand Ishvara as essentially formless. Just because we understand Ishvara as essentially formless doesn't mean that we can forego the forms. Why? Because we are living in a formed universe. And that we are living in a formed universe is that which we have to understand. This is meaning what? You cannot bypass forms. Everything is the Lord's forms. Everybody is the Lord's form. You cannot bypass the form. If you bypass the form, that means you're living in some kind of a la land. You cannot do that. You're just deluding yourself that you can bypass the form. No form can be bypassed. And so what? So we have to understand that essentially formless Swarupa Lakshana, about which I have talked at length, and then not shy of forms, upholding all forms, non-separate from the forms. What is that? Tatastha Lakshana. So the Lord with form, with the Jagat, and the one that has as though entered the Jagat, is the Lord seen through the definition called Tatastha Lakshana. A very important understanding of the Lord, because that is the one that causes this understanding of the Tatastha Lakshana relieves one of samsara, really. Because if I just say, oh, I'm formless, Ishvara is formless, samsara is not gone. Samsara goes when I understand Bhagavan as the truth of the Tatastha Lakshana. Tatastha Lakshana means what? That which is the overlord of this universe, the cause of this universe, the one in whom the whole universe is there, including this Upadhi. That is who I have to understand the Lord as, not as, that is what is important. Then from there alone I can say, okay, what is the separating factor between me and Bhagavan? I am because he is the cause. She is the cause, and I am what? Because she is the source and I am outsourced. I am resourced. And so therefore what? Therefore, how to bridge this gap is to see what is the truth of this Lord after the Upadhi called Ishvara is the infinite Upadhi called Ishvara is dropped. And what is the truth of myself when this finite Upadhi is cognitively dropped? Then you understand oneself as the Lord from the standpoint of Swarupa Lakshana, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, or Sat Chit Ananda. This is very, very important. And if this is not understood, then then we have to kiss Vedanta goodbye if this is not understood. So therefore, the one who sees Ishvara, this is Tatastha Lakshana. First Swarupa Lakshana is talked about because that is the ultimate truth. But I cannot get to this ultimate truth without relating to Ishvara. This is the relationship to Ishvara, and this relationship to Ishvara has to happen for me. And I have to be able to see Ishvara everywhere and as everything, and as non-separate from me. And Ishwara here promises tasyaham na pranashyami. Such a devotee, I am never lost to this devotee. And the devotee is never lost to me. Why? We are one. We are one. We are actually one. Then the final verse, we have already chanted. Sarvabhuta sthitam yaha mam bhajati. The one who worships me, mam bhajati yaha the one, mam, me, Ishwaram, bhajati. Bhajati means the worships. The one who invokes me, the one who worships me. How? Sarva bhuta sthitam. As the one who is the truth in the form of the one who abides in all beings. Worshipping me as abiding in all beings. Ekatvam asthitah. Ekatvam asthitah means that the person is seeing that oneness, established in that oneness. Ekatvam asthitah. How did the worshipper get established in oneness? The worshipper got established in oneness by seeing me and worshipping me as the truth of all beings. So such a person, sarvatha vartamanaha api, remaining everywhere free, remaining everywhere as a free being, because the person is no longer in his or her mind confined to a particular body, mind, sense complex. So, existing everywhere, anywhere the person be, whatever the person's livelihood is, whether the person is a pandita or a chandala, who also happened to be a pandita in that story, which I shared some time back. And so whether the pandita or whether some kind of a person which the world regards as lowly, this yogi mayi vartate is abiding in me alone, is non-separate from me. Even though the person may be in Timbuktu, is non-separate from me. Why? Because Timbuktu is non-separate from me, and the yogi knows this. The yogi knows this. It's just amazing. And then, in the next verse, the Lord is going to conclude this whole section on the phala of meditation / nididhyasanam. And Arjuna is going to ask a question shortly thereafter. And we have to pat Arjuna on the back because he's been a very, very good boy. When was his last question? His last question was at the beginning of chapter 5. After that, he has been sitting and listening quietly and meditating in chapter 6. And then he has some problems with the meditation. He finds that he cannot meditate, and he is going to ask for how to remove the obstacles in the meditation, bringing us to the next topic of this chapter, dhyana pratibandha pariharo. So the obstacles in meditation and how to remove them, we will see that soon. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.